Why here? They want to mix with their kind, man.
And they give me work.
Who you talking to? I know what they be doing in that dude.
To some breaking news out of Bibb County, a fourth arrest has been made in connection to the ongoing child sex abuse investigation involving an underground bunker. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson joins us now with more on the charges.
Muriel, the Bibb County District Attorney's Office confirms to me that Timothy St. John was taken into custody today. He's now facing a long list of charges, and officials say some of the alleged acts happened inside the same bunker that's been at the center of a months-long investigation. Now, this is ABC 3340's drone footage of that bunker. Now, according to the DA's office, St. John is charged with rape, sodomy, human trafficking, kidnapping, bestiality, and cruelty to animals. This comes after 3 men were previously arrested as part of the same investigation. All 3 of those men face multiple charges as well, including rape, sodomy, human trafficking, and kidnapping. Again, investigators allege that some of the offenses took place in the same underground bunker on Aaron Road in Brent, Alabama. Now, authorities have not yet said how St. John is allegedly connected to the other 3 suspects or whether additional victims have been identified.
In a disturbing child trafficking investigation out of Bibb County faced a judge for the first time today instead of a bond hearing. All 3 chose to stay behind bars. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson was there and has the latest.
What was scheduled to be an Ananias Law bond hearing for 3 of the 7 suspects charged in connection to alleged child abuse and trafficking out of Bibb County ended quietly. Rebecca Brewer, Ricky Terrell, and Sarah Terrell all waived their right to bond during their first court appearance.
It's not the norm, but it does happen from time to time. This is probably the first non-murder Ananias hearing that resolved itself that fast.
Each of the 3 faces severe charges, including human trafficking, kidnapping, rape, sexual torture, and child sex abuse. Before entering the courthouse, Rebecca Brewer told media, "I didn't do this. I love my babies." Inside the courtroom, Ricky Terrell was overheard telling his attorney, "I've never touched a kid." He also asked an officer if he could hug his wife, which that request was denied. Despite the quiet courtroom behind the scenes, the investigation is very much still moving.
The public should rest assured that the majority of the perpetrators that have been identified are either in custody and charged or will be very soon.
So far, authorities have identified 10 child victims ranging from ages 3 to 15. Most are under the age of 10. Investigators say they were drugged, restrained, and taken into an underground storm bunker where strangers would pay to abuse them in what they described as appointments.
Whenever you have cases that involve children victims or child victims, it shocks people to the core.
The next court date for these 3 suspects is set for August 21st, a preliminary hearing. Until then, they remain in custody without bond.
When I tell you I feel like I've seen it all and heard it all, this is shocking even to me.
The investigation into an unthinkable child abuse case in Bibb County is far from over. 7 people are behind bars accused of horrific crimes against children as young as 3.
Authorities fear more victims are out there and more perpetrators too. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson spoke with a trafficking expert, and Gracie, she is shedding light on just how deep this kind of abuse can run and why early recognition and recovery are so difficult.
Muriel, yes, I spoke with Carolyn Potter, CEO of the Well House, who works directly with trafficking survivors. She explains why this case follows a familiar and heartbreaking pattern and what's needed to help the children now coming forward.
The vileness, the evil of that just went to the very core of my soul.
What investigators say happened in rural Bibb County is almost impossible to comprehend. A storm shelter, originally built as a place of safety, became the scene of unimaginable alleged abuse. 10 children, some as young as 3 years old. So far, 7 people have been arrested.
I've been in law enforcement for 33 years, and this is absolutely the most horrible thing I've ever seen when it comes to victimization of children.
Carolyn Potter works with trafficking survivors from across the country through the Well House, a recovery center in Alabama. She says the signs of trafficking are often present, just not always recognized.
We need to do a better job of educating our teachers and our counselors and our caseworker on what trauma looks like and on the signs of human trafficking, because I would wager just about anything that those children showed signs.
Authorities say the children were participating in normal activities, including attending school. Yet the abuse had been taking place since around 2022.
I do not think that anybody that was not involved in this directly was aware that it was going on.
When I tell you, I feel like I've seen it all and heard it all. This is shocking even to me that it went on this long without anyone knowing about it or being able to do anything.
Now, with the investigation still ongoing, the focus is also shifting to recovery. Potter says the children will need more than a rescue. They'll need long-term care.
They've already been in contact with counselors, and they're getting the help they need, the medical help they need, the emotional and psychological help that we can best provide them.
Yet, sadly, the 10 child victims identified in this case so far aren't the only ones.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out, unfortunately.
A South Florida veterinarian sentenced today. The Aventura vet pled guilty to creating an animal crush video of bestiality. Prentice K. Madden recorded himself sexually abusing dogs, then shared the videos online. He also received child pornography and talked about child sexual abuse in online chats. Madden was sentenced to over 21 years in federal prison.
Channel 2 Action News investigates nearly $1 million stolen from more than 20 victims, and those are just some of those allegations that a man is facing, including accusations he fraudulently married a popular radio host to get access to more victims.
Channel 2 investigative reporter Ashley Lincoln's live at the Fulton County Courthouse, and Ashley, investigators believe there may be even more victims.
Yeah, Karen and Wendy, they say this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are a list of allegations listed in this 39-count indictment. Now, that individual, Ernest Williams, had his arraignment here at the Fulton County Courthouse earlier this week. Now, this indictment, they claim Mr. Williams knowingly defrauded dozens out of thousands of dollars.
He's been conning people from 2009 to 2022.
The Fulton County District Attorney says Ernest Williams was anything but earnest when he allegedly took advantage of multiple victims for financial benefit.
The big picture is that Ernest Williams is a con man.
Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis spoke exclusively with Channel 2 about her decision to seek charges under the Georgia Racketeer Influences and Corrupt Organization Act. Williams was arraigned in court this week after a grand jury indicted him last month.
He would pretend to be a legitimate businessman, but he was stealing from people United States currency, vehicles, and really just taking advantage of people.
The indictment claims Ernest fraudulently married popular radio personality Shirley Strawberry. Strawberry is a co-host on the renowned Steve Harvey Morning Show.
To create this impression of some level of success and use that to scam other people.
Documents claim he knowingly went into the marriage with ulterior motives.
He was married at the time that he married Shirley Strawberry.
Attorneys allege Williams used that marriage to gain access to victims. Over the course of 12 years, documents suggest Williams scanned at least 25 victims out of more than $750,000.
Ernest Williams often kind of created this impression of a close relationship or a romantic relationship with many of these victims, used those relationships to take money, vehicles, vehicle trailers, RVs, and other property from them.
And Williams is being represented by the Public Defender's Office. I did reach out to them this afternoon. They told me they did not want to comment on this case. Now, there is a co-defendant or co-conspirator listed in this indictment on allegations that she allegedly pretended to be an attorney representing Williams. I'll break down those details tonight on Channel 2 Action News at 6. Reporting live in downtown, Ashley Lincoln, Channel 2 Action News.
Shirley Strawberry's personal life has recently become the talk of the town, and it's turning into one big, messy drama. The beloved radio host has found herself in the center of a scandal that has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. The source of all this chaos, none other than her husband, Ernesto Williams. But hold on to your seats, because the update we've all been eagerly anticipating has just arrived. It became clear that Ernesto's involvement went far beyond a simple scam. It turns out he had a dark secret lurking on his computer. Authorities stumbled upon an utterly disturbing discovery, a graphic and indecent photograph involving a minor, when they seized Ernesto's computer. This revelation rocked the community to its core and thrust Shirley, his unsuspecting wife, into the spotlight. She had been living in blissful ignorance of her husband's illicit activities, but now she was forced to face the unsettling truth. But that's not all. It seems that Ernesto and Shirley's troubles extend beyond legal matters. Multiple sources reveal that they are facing another legal battle, this time as deadbeat tenants. Pacific Shore Property Management has filed a lawsuit against the couple, claiming that they rented a lavish Los Angeles house for a staggering $7,500 per month, but failed to pay rent for several months. As if that wasn't enough, they left the property in a state of utter disarray, with broken appliances, stained carpets, scratched floors, and even missing smoke detectors. It's clear that Ernesto and Shirley's disregard for their obligations extended beyond their fraudulent activities. But let's not forget the other half of this shady duo, Erica King, Ernesto's partner in crime. Together they crafted an elaborate scheme that preyed on unsuspecting victims. Posing as business experts, they promised to catapult their clients' brands, missions, life goals, and social media followings to new heights. However, once the money was handed over, Ernesto and Erica vanished into thin air, leaving their victims high and dry, without a trace of the promised services.
Actually position themselves as experts in the fields of business growth, development, coaching, things of that nature. They would then align themselves with their victims with the promise of being able to grow their...
Can you believe it? These two cunning con artists managed to swindle more than a dozen people out of over $1 million. What's even more baffling is that not a single victim had the courage to come forward and take legal action against them. It's as if Ernesto and Erica had cast a spell of fear and intimidation over their victims, leaving them paralyzed and unable to confront the criminals who had robbed them blind. But karma has a way of catching up with even the most skilled deceivers. The unraveling began with a case of rental fraud, which exposed Ernesto's web of financial misdeeds. He and Erica had a cozy little hideout adjacent to Shirley's residence, but when Ernesto conveniently stopped paying rent for several months, the homeowner had had enough and took legal action. Little did Ernesto know that this seemingly isolated incident would open the floodgates to a torrent of financial misconduct. As investigators dug deeper into Ernesto's tangled web of transactions, the shocking truth emerged. This wasn't just a one-time rental fraud, it was part of a larger, well-orchestrated scheme. Their house on Pine Grove Road became the epicenter of the investigation, revealing the extensive network of deceit that Ernesto and Erica had meticulously built. With each step along the money trail, the suspicions grew stronger. The house of cards constructed by Ernesto and Erica was on the verge of collapse, leading to their eventual arrest on fraud charges. Ernesto faced an array of jaw-dropping charges that would make any law-abiding citizen's head spin. 5 counts of conspiracy to commit a felony were slapped on him, although 2 were later dismissed. Still, the damage had been done. Ernesto's wallet took a significant hit when his bond was set at a staggering $15,000. And that's not all. He also faced additional charges, including theft by taking, operation of credit repair services, and theft by deception. It's as if scamming unsuspecting entrepreneurs wasn't enough. Ernesto had the audacity to target established business owners as well. But wait, there's more. Just when you thought the drama had reached its peak, court documents from November 18, 2021, revealed yet another deceitful act committed by Ernesto. Brace yourself for this one. He shamelessly conned a car repair service, racking up a bill of over $1,500, but less than $5,000 from Palmer Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. But brace yourselves, because here's where the story takes a dark turn. Ernesto stands accused of something even more despicable. Heinous acts committed against not just one, but a shocking total of 11 innocent minors. It's a gut-wrenching revelation that sends shockwaves through the soul. As a result, he has been ordered to stay away from the families and associates of his victims, rightfully so. But here's where the tale takes an even more sinister turn. Prepare yourselves for the heart-wrenching truth that hits far too close to home. Among his victims lies Shirley's own daughter, her precious and only child. But the nightmare doesn't end there, my friends. Brace yourselves for this harrowing detail. He didn't stop at Shirley's daughter. He also SA'd her daughter's 2 young children. Can you believe it?
Not leave Fulton County, have no internet access at all, and no contact with any minors or animals. But again, he's met all of the Ayala factors. He's a flight risk, as evidenced by phone calls that we've heard.
Okay.
All right.
Judge, just one more thing. If the court is inclined to grant a bond on this, which would see him released, the state does have a number of people we would be requesting no contact with as well.
As the news of Ernesto's arrest spread like wildfire, people couldn't help but wonder how Shirley, a relationship expert herself, could have been blind to her husband's misdeeds. After all, she had built a career on giving advice to others about avoiding toxic and deceitful partners. It seemed like a classic case of physician, heal thyself. But it turns out that Shirley may have known more than she let on. Whispers of her awareness of Ernesto's shady business dealings began to circulate, suggesting that she had been covering for him all along. Some speculated that her love for him had blinded her to the truth, while others believed she was complicit in his crimes. This revelation has left many questioning Shirley's judgment and integrity. How could someone who had spent years offering relationship advice end up entangled with a man involved in fraudulent activities? It seemed like a glaring contradiction, and fans and colleagues alike were eager to get some answers. Shirley's once reputable name in the television and radio industry is now under scrutiny. She had won numerous awards and accolades for her work, including the prestigious Hoodie Awards and the Radio Gracie Awards. But now her association with Ernesto's criminal activities threatens to tarnish her hard-earned reputation. It's not just Shirley's professional standing that is at stake. Her personal life has also been turned upside down. The couple's relationship, which was once seen as a fairy tale romance, has now become the subject of gossip and speculation. Shirley and Ernesto's wedding photos, once proudly displayed on their social media pages, have become a haunting reminder of a time when things seemed picture perfect. While Shirley has remained tight-lipped about the situation, fans and followers are desperate for some clarity. They want to know how much she knew about Ernesto's fraudulent schemes and whether she was an active participant or merely a victim of his deceit. The truth remains elusive, but as the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. In the midst of this scandal, Shirley's relationship with her listeners and colleagues hangs in the balance. Many wonder if she will face backlash and criticism for her association with a man involved in such shady activities. The trust she has built with her audience over the years may be shattered, and the consequences could be severe. In any case, as the investigation into Ernesto's crimes continues, more details are likely to emerge. The list of victims affected by his fraudulent activities may be longer than initially thought, leaving Shirley in an even more precarious position. Her reputation, both personal and professional, hangs in the balance, and she will need to make some difficult decisions moving forward. Will Shirley choose to stand by her husband's side, hoping for redemption and forgiveness? Or will she distance herself from him to protect her own image and career? The path she chooses will undoubtedly have far-reaching consequences, not just for her, but for those who have looked up to her as a relationship expert. In the fickle world of fame and celebrity, scandals come and go. But for Shirley Strawberry, this scandal threatens to leave an indelible mark on her life and legacy.
So now you're telling me that it has been approved in Japan, the ability to mix animal and human DNA, therefore splicing it and creating animal-human hybrids that are allowed to come to term. Now I'm gonna let you marinate that for just a second. Are you good? Are we ready to cook this chicken? Now, the reason behind it is it is supposed to potentially help with human organ donors and transplants. Therefore, if you needed a heart, a liver, a lung, a kidney, you would have access to that quicker, because if you know anything about that, it is a very lengthy process and a very challenging one for those who need organs. But there are some huge red flags and a lot of skepticism attached to it, because they're not entirely sure what the human cells will potentially do to the animal brain. And then there's also the whole thing of religion. I swear every day I wake up, I'm like, what sci-fi movie did I just get a starring role on? What timeline did we just jump on? What universe are we currently residing in? So what do you think? Is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea?
In the quiet corners of humanity's relationship with animals, there lurks a disturbing issue: bestiality. A term that may not be familiar to all, bestiality refers to the act of humans engaging in sexual activities with animals. It's a topic many shy away from, yet its implications are far-reaching and deeply troubling. This practice, often shrouded in secrecy, is considered illegal in numerous jurisdictions across the globe. The reasons for its criminalization are twofold. Firstly, it has the potential for severe animal abuse. Animals, unlike humans, cannot give informed consent, making any such interactions inherently exploitative. Secondly, the risk of zoonotic diseases, those transmitted from animals to humans, significantly increases. These diseases can have devastating health impacts, from minor ailments to life-threatening conditions. Despite the discomfort this topic may evoke, it's crucial we confront the grim reality of bestiality. The silence around this issue doesn't negate its existence, or the dangers it poses. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to the safety and well-being of both humans and animals. Bestiality is not only a moral and legal issue, but also a public health concern. It's a topic that's often shrouded in silence, making it all the more imperative to shed light on its dangers. Bestiality can have a severe impact on an individual's mental health. Those who partake in such acts may find themselves spiraling into a world of guilt, self-loathing, and psychological distress. It's a path that can lead to social ostracism, as society generally frowns upon such behavior. This can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation, which in turn can exacerbate mental health issues. The legal repercussions are another aspect to consider. In many countries around the world, bestiality is considered a crime and is punishable by law. The penalties can range from hefty fines to prison sentences. This can have a profound impact on the person's life, affecting their employment prospects, relationships, and social standing. But the dangers of bestiality don't just affect the human involved. The welfare of the animal is a crucial concern. Animals, unlike humans, cannot give consent. This means any sexual act imposed upon them can be highly traumatic and cause physical harm. Animals have different anatomies and sexual behaviors than humans, and forcing them into such acts can lead to serious injuries, sometimes even fatal. Moreover, animals are unable to communicate their distress in the same way humans can. They can't tell us when they're in pain or when they're feeling violated. It's our responsibility to protect them, to be their voice when they can't speak for themselves. In essence, bestiality is a dangerous practice, both for the individual and the animal involved. It's a path that leads to psychological turmoil, social ostracism, and potential legal consequences for the human. For the animal, it's a path filled with fear, pain, and potential physical harm. It's a dark road that no one should ever have to walk down. Bestiality is a dangerous practice, both for the individual and the animal involved. Beyond the immediate dangers, there's an insidious risk to bestiality: disease transmission. It's a grim subject, but one that is necessary to discuss. The act of bestiality can lead to the transmission of zoonotic diseases, those that can jump from animals to humans, and vice versa. Take, for instance, brucellosis. This bacteria is commonly found in animals, but when transmitted to humans it can result in fever, sweats, severe headaches, depression, and fatigue. It's not something to take lightly. And then there's leptospirosis, another bacterial disease. In humans, it can cause a wide range of symptoms, some of which may be mistaken for other diseases. Some infected persons, however, may have no symptoms at all. Yet without treatment, leptospirosis can lead to kidney damage, meningitis, liver failure, and respiratory distress. Let's not forget about rabies. It's perhaps the most well-known disease associated with animals, particularly wild ones. It's almost always fatal once symptoms appear. Rabies in humans begins with symptoms such as fever and headache, but as it progresses, it can cause insomnia, confusion, paralysis, and even hallucinations. The health implications of these diseases are severe, and the risks they present are not to be underestimated. It's not just about the immediate physical harm, it's also about the potential for long-term health complications and even death. The risk of disease is a sobering reminder of the dangers of bestiality. The dangers of bestiality extend beyond the individual to impact public health and animal welfare. we've delved into the harrowing reality of bestiality, a dark act that not only endangers human health through various diseases, but also subjects animals to immense sufferings. The threats are real, from physical harm to fatal diseases. Our silence on this issue doesn't make it disappear. Remember, animal welfare is a responsibility we all share.
My fellow Americans, this is the 34th time I'll speak to you from the Oval Office, and the last. We've been together 8 years now, and soon it'll be time for me to go. But before I do, I wanted to share some thoughts, some of which I've been saving for a long time. We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car, and we decide where it should go, and by what route, and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do. We, the people, are free. This belief has been the underlying basis for everything I've tried to do these past 8 years. But back in the 1960s, when I began, it seemed to me that we'd begun reversing the order of things, that through more and more rules and regulations and confiscatory taxes, the government was taking more of our money, more of our options, and more of our freedom. I went into politics in part to put up my hand and say, stop. I was a citizen politician, and it seemed the right thing for a citizen to do. I think we have stopped a lot of what needed stopping, and I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts. Finally, there is a great tradition of warnings in presidential farewells, and I've got one that's been on my mind for some time. But oddly enough, it starts with one of the things I'm proudest of in the past 8 years, the resurgence of national pride that I called the new patriotism. This national feeling is good, but it won't count for much, and it won't last unless it's grounded in thoughtfulness and knowledge. An informed patriotism is what we want. And are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents in the long history of the world? And as for those who create the popular culture, well-grounded patriotism is no longer the style. Our spirit is back, but we haven't re-institutionalized it. We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. It's fragile. It needs production. So we've got to teach history based not on what's in fashion, but what's important. Why the Pilgrims came here, who Jimmy Doolittle was, and what those 30 seconds over Tokyo meant. You know, 4 years ago, on the 40th anniversary of D-Day, I read a letter from a young woman writing to her late father, who had fought on Omaha Beach. Her name was Lisa Zanetta Henn, and she said, "We will always remember. We will never forget what the boys of Normandy did." Well, let's help her keep her word. If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. I'm warning of an eradication of the American memory that could result ultimately in an erosion of the American spirit. Let's start with some basics. More attention to American history and a greater emphasis on civic ritual. And let me offer lesson number 1 about America. All great change in America begins at the dinner table. So tomorrow night in the kitchen, I hope the talking begins. And children, if your parents haven't been teaching you what it means to be an American, let them know and nail them on it. That would be a very American thing to do. And so, goodbye, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.